Welcome back. We've talked about how aggregate demand is a powerful lever the government and central bank can pull to stabilize the economy through fiscal policy and monetary policy, but this is where the real world gets messy. Today we look at the 4 lags that delay policy effects and make macroeconomic management so challenging. The problem is that by the time a policy's full effect is felt, the economy might have already changed, potentially turning a good policy into a bad one. These lags fall into 2 groups: inside lags, which involves getting the policy decided, and outside lags, the policy taking effect. The inside lags are entirely about the process of recognizing a problem and initiating a solution. The first lag, the recognition lag. This is the time it takes for policymakers to even realize that a recession or inflation problem has begun. The problem is that economic data isn't instant. GDP, unemployment, and inflation figures are collected and reported with a delay, often weeks or months. It takes time and several data releases to confirm if a downturn is a true crisis or just a temporary blip. The duration for this lag is typically similar for both fiscal and monetary policy. It's just a matter of waiting for the data to roll in. The second lag, the decision or action lag. This is the time spent debating and choosing what to do. This is where the political process hits us. In terms of the fiscal policy, this lag is very long. Changing taxes or enacting a new spending program, like infrastructure, requires a lengthy legislative process. The proposal has to be drafted, debated by politicians with differing interests, voted on, and signed into law. This can easily take many months or even over a year. For the monetary policy, this lag is very short. Central banks are generally independent. Their policy committee can meet, vote to change the interest rate, and announce the decision almost instantly. The third lag, the implementation lag. This is the time it takes to actually put the chosen policy into action. When it comes to the fiscal policy, this lag is also long. If the policy is a tax cut, it's relatively fast. But if it's a new government spending program, like building new power plants, bureaucratic processes must start. Funding must be allocated, contracts must be bid on, and workers must be hired. The check isn't cut the day the bill passes. For the monetary policy, this lag is nearly zero. The central bank executes its policy, like buying or selling bonds, with commercial banks immediately after the decision is made. The money markets react within minutes. Now for the outside lag. The delay in the economy. The outside lag is the time it takes for the policy, once implemented, to ripple through the millions of decisions made by businesses and consumers, and finally shift the aggregate demand curve. This is the impact lag, the fourth and last lag. This is the time from implementation to the desired change in real GDP and the price level. For the fiscal policy, this lag is relatively short. Why? Because fiscal policy is a direct injection into the economy. If the government spends $100 million on a road, that money immediately becomes income for construction workers and firms, starting the multiplier effect right away. The aggregate demand curve shifts quickly. We see the main impact within a few months. For the monetary policy, this lag is long and variable, and this is the most important one. Why? Because monetary policy is indirect. When the central bank lowers interest rates, this change must be passed on by commercial banks to consumers and businesses. Businesses must then decide that the lower cost of borrowing makes a new investment project, such as a new factory, new machinery, profitable, and households must decide to buy a new house or car based on the lower monthly payment. These are large, long-term decisions that take time. As a result, the full effect on the aggregate demand curve is often not felt for 12 to 24 months. The problem of lags is why stabilizing the economy is more like steering a massive cargo ship than driving a sports car.